So hello everyone, thanks for joining our webinar today, a speed round with MediaValet's integration partners. I'm Stephanie, MediaValet's product marketing manager, and I'll be the webinar moderator today. Before we get started, I'll quickly go over some housekeeping items. We'll be following up with everyone after the presentation with the recording of the webinar. And if at any time during the presentation that you have any questions, feel free to post them in the Q&A session. We'll hold off on answering those until the end during our Q&A session. And if we're not able to answer everyone's questions during that Q&A period, we'll make sure to follow up with you individually after the webinar. So before we begin, we'll quickly highlight the agenda for today. So first, we'll start by giving a quick introduction to MediaValet's integrated product offering. Then we'll have our partners each present on their solutions with MediaValet. We'll then discuss additional ways that you can create value for your DAM through MediaValet's open API. And lastly, we'll wrap up with a Q&A session. Without further ado, I'll pass it over to Fraser Charles, our Head of Strategic Partnerships at MediaValet.
Thanks, Steph. Good morning, everyone. Really glad to be here and great to see the participant list of folks who have been able to join today to learn more about some of our amazing partners here at MediaValet. As Steph said, my name is Fraser Charles. I'm the Head of Strategic Partnerships here at MediaValet. I joined the team almost 5 years ago now to start the partner program. And fast forward to today, we've got a tremendous family of partners that all bring a really unique value add to our customers, whether that's as a systems integrator or another tech company with an integrated product offering. On the simpler end of the spectrum, the value that our partners bring can simply be acting as a transaction vehicle for purchasing MediaValet if that's required by the customer. But on the more complex end, our partners often offer in-depth consulting, implementation, and integration services. So as a product, we aim to continue driving MediaValet further as a world-class best-of-breed DAM solution. And the best-of-breed label here, I think, is really important because it informs how we approach integrations like those that you're going to see today. So we as a product company are laser-focused on DAM and what DAM needs to be in order to make our customers, in this case, as successful as possible in your work. So that means then we need to create really strong, effective partnerships in order to deliver on required solutions that sometimes fall outside the scope of core DAM services. So things like work management, product information management, or PIM, workflow automation, and even really advanced cutting-edge artificial intelligence needs. So today, and I'm really excited about this, it's like me introducing you to my family, you're going to meet a focused, hand-picked group of MediaValet partners who all offer integrated solutions with MediaValet, covering that range of products or use cases that I just listed. So without further delay, I'll give a really brief intro to those awesome MediaValet partners joining us today. And in order of appearance, we've got Gary Colon with Reich, we've got Harry Singh with StrikeTrue, we've got Ben Tezjan with Microsoft, and we've got Michael Blakely with Interoperate. And I'll let the presenters give their own overviews of their respective solutions. So with that, let's get after it. And I'm going to hand it over to you, Gary, to kick us off here. Go for it.
Awesome. Thanks, Fraser, and hello, everyone. My name is Gary Colon. I'm the Strategic Partner Manager here at Reich. Just a bit about myself. I've been at Reich for the majority of the past 6 years, started in sales, and now I sit on the business development team where I manage our strategic partnerships like MediaValet, Microsoft, and Adobe. It's a pleasure to be here today. Thank you so much for having me, guys. So I often get the question, what is Reich? So I'll just give a quick overview. Reich is an enterprise-ready collaborative work management solution, best known for managing cross-functional work at scale. We're easy to set up, and we promote collaboration in a secure environment. We work with over 20,000 clients all over the world, some of which you can see here. Our mission is to help you do the best work of your life by reducing chaos and complexity through visibility, contextual collaboration, and my favorite, automation. Reich can be differentiated by other players in the market, and there are many, by our sophisticated yet simple to use workspace. We offer the best-in-class solution for customization, simplicity, and adoption. If your solution isn't capable, you won't go far. And if your solution is hard to use, no one will adopt it. So Reich offers a solution that's both capable and easy to adopt. MediaValet and other integrations we offer really aid in that adoption process. And last note before shifting gears here, I'll leave you with this example you may have heard before. But if you're building a house, you want to have the proper tools. Some tools will get you further than others, but what I like to say is it's really the combination of these tools that gets the job done. So Reich offers the workflow management, MediaValet offers best-in-class digital asset management. So two tools, when put together, will accelerate your workflow. We have our package Reich for Marketers, which I'll actually speak on just for a moment. This package is actually the one that includes our out-of-the-box integration with MediaValet. Marketing organizations are under more pressure now than ever, and customers have more options. So delivering outstanding customer experiences across every touch point is extremely critical. Responding to these external challenges is further complicated by internal chaos that can either slow work down or lead to stressed out employees, including lengthy and tedious reviews or approval processes. Right for Marketers really unifies the entire marketing and creative production workflow to optimize the go-to-market process, supercharge creative production, and improve collaboration to accelerate campaign delivery. And with Right for Marketers Performance, which is relatively new, our digital marketers can optimize campaign results with real-time 360 visibility into campaign performance. We connect to over 50 popular digital tools across advertising, social media, and marketing automation. The data is then aggregated and transformed into a unified view that even non-technical marketers can easily understand. People often ask, what are the benefits of using the platforms and integrating them together in regards to MediaValet and Reich? And just like Fraser mentioned earlier, I think Gartner said it best in a press release they had a while back when they said that MarTech teams are increasingly taking a best of breed approach to selecting new technologies. We may ask ourselves why. Eliminating non-productive time is one of the most valuable benefits on using the integration. How much time is spent searching for assets that are either in the process of being created or added to a campaign? Oftentimes a lot. So in the context of creating or using assets, the goal of our integration is to significantly reduce or eliminate the time spent searching for these assets, allowing teams to recognize better results. I ask a lot of questions, and I do that just to get the wheels spinning. I believe saving time and increasing output, maintaining the brand consistency are the main drivers around integrating Reich and MediaValet. Like I mentioned earlier, the integration comes out of the box, so there's no custom development work needed. If you're in need of a work management platform and digital asset management or one or the other, look no further. We're already connected and we'll help you get the results. Our integration is simple to set up. People often overlook the fact that simplicity usually wins. It's that balance, right? It's the balance between simplicity and sophistication. On the screen, you can see just an example of the integration, navigating a task in Reich, pulling up a MediaValet asset. So just talking about connecting Reich and MediaValet, it should take nothing more but about 5 clicks and a couple username and passwords. That's it. Navigating Reich to either push an asset to MediaValet or pull an asset from MediaValet is also nothing short of a few clicks, as you can see on the quick GIF on the screen. So companies that deal with a tremendous amount of assets or version control, or versioning, will find the integration pleasant and productive. Use Reich to store all your work management requests, navigate workflows, and track campaign progress with our reports. And use MediaValet to stay on brand, deliver assets, and keep your team and clients happy. And that's really all from my end, Fraser. Back to you.
That's awesome, Gary. That's great show and tell of the integration there. Thanks for going through that. I'm super excited about how Reich and MediaValet are working together today, and particularly with our joint customers, and more than anything, the rate at which the number of joint customers is growing over the years as we continue our partnership. The webinar we did together last year with our customer Basecamp Franchising, that was such compelling evidence of the value a customer can realize when two integrated products like Reich and MediaValet work really, really well together and drive value for the customer. So thank you for that. All right, on to the next partner, Harry. Go for it. Let's hear about StrikeTrue.
Awesome. Thanks, Fraser, and thanks, Gary, for the presentation. So just a quick intro about myself. I'm Harry Singh. I'm a partner at StrikeTrue, and my primary area of responsibility is delivery and solutions. I'm there with the company for about 5 years. And before I jump into the what exactly is the joint offering we have created with MediaValet, just a quick intro about the StrikeTrue. So we are a digital services firm, a very solution-focused digital services firm, helping small and medium businesses grow their e-commerce sales. And how we do it via the product content. So right from product onboarding to the product information management to product syndication, including the images. When I talk about product syndication and product data, I'm including the rich content, the assets and the media content to all of your channels. And we are a cloud-based, completely offering a cloud-based joint integrated end-to-end solution for product content. So in today's presentation, I want to explain what exactly are some of the challenges companies face, either when they don't have a digital asset management solution, or PIM, or both for that matter, and what's the issues when those are not integrated together, and what's the joint value prop, and what's our solution, integrated solution looks like. So as you know, the e-commerce is the buzzword, is not the buzzword, it's the reality. So whether you are a B2B, B2C, or a D2C shopper, you want more and more compelling product content, especially things like high resolution videos, 3D images, lifestyle images, 360-degree view product spins, comparison charts, FAQ document, and things like that. And the idea there is to really convert that customer who's doing an online research into a real customer, the add to cart. So the proliferation of the whole multiple channel is helping, but is also very competitive. So how do we convert that customer from just research into a real customer? And according to one research, it's really the people are shopping more and more online, but the cost of retaining that customer is also increasing, and that's where we have this best of the breed solution coming together. So now the companies either don't have a digital asset management solution, or maybe some department in the company, let's say marketing, as Gary was explaining, they bought a DAM solution maybe a few years back. Then on the other side, you have a PIM, or product information management solution. And they're kind of working in the silos. So there is a digital assets content operations going where people are acquiring the assets, uploading into the MediaValet DAM. They're going through their approval process. And then somehow maybe they are managing a very offline or a disconnected process to take that finished image from MediaValet DAM and then push into the PIM, whether you're using any of these PIM or product information management solutions. What is essentially happening because of that, you are creating this disconnected set of tools in a very siloed process and a siloed content and manual operations, which are the major roadblock for achieving your seamless and providing the right content to the customer at the right channel. So really, that's the takeaway. And again, coming back to the e-commerce, today's online businesses, especially the marketing, as Gary pointed out, they really need a clean and a clutter-free digital content to promote the brand and stand out, and then in front of the customer and kind of have that stickiness as we just talked about. So those are some of the challenges of not having the PIM and DAM together. And last year, Forrester did a study, and as part of that, they had a pretty nice quote saying, PIM and DAM are the perfect power couple for your content strategy. So having one is good, but having both is what you need. So what exactly is the solution? So Strike Through, and we are, by the way, we are very excited about the partnership and alliance with MediaValet. We came together and we saw this need in the marketplace where online merchants, small companies, big companies, medium-sized companies, they're all looking for a joint and a connected solution as one working seamlessly. So we came up with the MediaValet 2 small pin powered by Akinio connector by Strike Through. And what's the big benefit of that particular integration? It's designed to optimize your storage, management, and distribution of assets, and prepare and auto transfer product data and digital assets seamlessly between PIM and DAM. So to that integration challenge I talked about earlier, you no longer are transferring the file with manual and another kind of semi-automated way. The connector transfers the assets and metadata from MediaValet DAM to PIM, and then from PIM also pushes the information from PIM to DAM. It's a bidirectional integration between the two platforms. So, and then all of that is achieved using the APIs. We'll hear more about the API, but both the sites, whether it's a small pin powered by Akinio API or the MediaValet API, we are using this particular mechanism, and that's how we build the integration. And then just on the PIM topic, as we are there, Strike Through specializes not only in Akinio PIM, but we have a deep expertise in PIM, DAM, MDM platforms, and we have integrated and implemented other PIM platforms like Riverside, Salsify, Innovate, Unidata, ContentServe, and others. And that's essentially in a nutshell, we are offering for this a packaged solution for small to medium-sized businesses. And this is a part of our bigger offering, what we call as a PIM and DAM in a box solution for online retailers, whether it's small companies or medium-sized companies. And it's really affordable. So based upon the market feedback, they really wanted this kind of a cloud-based affordable solution, PIM and DAM connected.
Gary, thanks so much. We're super excited for the opportunity to team up with Strike Through and really extend the value of PIM and DAM to our customers with you. From our perspective, PIM and e-commerce is an area, as you mentioned, in which analysts like Gartner and Forrester can see is just really, really taking off as a use case with respect to the value a solid DAM can offer when plugged into the stack. Okay, onwards. We're going to jump over to you, Ben. So over to you to take us through some of the cool things that Microsoft is doing with audio, video intelligence, and other AI initiatives that can be applied to DAM. Take it away.
Thanks, Fraser. Actually, it's great to meet with you and have a chance to talk. I always believe having this right connections between our customers and end users and the engineering team always brings success to the customers, and it gives us a chance to better understand the customer needs and expectations. So feel free to, ask your questions, and let's try to make it interactive if you have anything in your mind. So in short, my name is Ben. I'm working with Microsoft almost 13 years now. I'm especially focused nowadays to our Microsoft Cognitive Services, which I will be going to provide you some more details today. And we'll try to give you as well some additional information about how this integration between Microsoft and MediaValet solution works. So let's deep dive into Microsoft Cognitive Services and review a few of those capabilities. So in general, if you look at Microsoft's AI portfolio, we are providing you many different services, including like Azure machine learning and other AI capabilities. And our team is mainly focusing on the cognitive services. And you can think the cognitive services kind of relate to the human senses. And our the motivation here is ensuring that each and every individual could achieve more with additional capabilities that our AI is bringing to them and to their solutions and to address their needs. And those services or those capabilities have been structured in 4 main dimensions. The first one is speech. Basically, speech is the ability to hear and speak. And if you look at it from an AI standpoint, this is the ability to translate a conversation into text, and the other way around, a text into a speech or a conversation. And kind of a very simple example to how you can utilize this capability is using it in a call center for translating the conversation between the agent and the customer, so that you can have the whole transcription of the conversation, run a sentiment analysis on top of it, and do churn analysis, customer satisfaction analysis on top of it. For like individual users, it could be similar to listening a blog post in a podcast in a way that AI will help you to translate, make it translated into a speech and vice versa. The next is mainly today's focus, which is around vision. It gives you the ability to see more and recognize more. And I believe within the realities of the world that we are facing today, one relevant example could be the capabilities that we are bringing around understanding the social distancing between individuals and detecting whether the people are wearing a face mask or not. So this is mainly important for understanding the crowd and crowd analysis and ensuring that everyone is shopping safely and so on and so forth. The next is the language. If you look at it, this is the ability to talk and communicate with more people. If you ask me, my experience is maybe I met with a couple individuals who knows 6 or 7 different languages, but I never seen anyone that knows 20, 30 languages and have a right to have a chance to communicate freely and much more openly with many of the individuals in the world. So our language capabilities gives you a chance to translate from one language to another so that you can easily and freely communicate with a broader part of the world, and you will be utilizing much more easily those services with the help of Microsoft capabilities. And the last is the one that we recently introduced, which is around decision. So decision making is a tough thing, right? As an individual, maybe you can decide when you will go to shopping, when you will be eating your breakfast. If you are an enterprise who is trying to decide based on all the previous information that you gather and try to optimize your supply chain, actually you need something much more complex than the individual know-hows, which could be now is a best good way of using the Microsoft decision services so that the AI will help you looking to your past data and analyzing the data, could give you a chance to better optimize your logistics with the power of the AI. And while we are developing all those 4 services, we are always looking after, 4 main key principles. And we will review those in this slide. And if the first one is, this should be a world-class AI with customization. So whatever as Microsoft we are exposing to our end users, we always know that it is a high quality out of the box pre-built AI capability that you can immediately use. And as well, it provides high accuracy for certain use cases. On top of that, if necessary, we are as well providing you AI capabilities and additional tools to customize the AI to address your needs and to address your expectations. The second principle is we want to make it composable and coherent, meaning we are giving you different ways of consuming the services that are flexible and easy to integrate. It could be through a cloud API, it could be through an SDK. So the way that you want to integrate and the way that you feel comfortable, we are always providing you the necessary tools to make it much more simple and easy. And the third is, whatever we are developing within the AI space in Microsoft, we are always responsible and ethical. And we are always, developing, thinking the human first with the transparency. And we already, communicated out, and you can easily within Microsoft websites could find our principles around responsible AI and how the ethically we are using the AI within the enterprise and consumer spaces. And the last is, it runs everywhere. So our mission is here ensuring that you have the potential to use it wherever you like. You can run it in the cloud, you can run it in an on-premise deployment, or either you can run it on an edge where you might be, willing to address your certain needs with an edge container and etc. So those are our four main principles. And now let's look at the little bit more detail into the computer vision or the vision capabilities and what are the key components of the vision capabilities that we are offering. So especially within the digital asset management, we have three main services that are namely called here as Computer Vision API, Custom Vision, and the Video Indexer. First, we will look into the Computer Vision API. Computer Vision API gives you an ability to analyze an image, and it will provide you some insights about the features and the characteristics within those images. As you can see in this example, we give you a couple certain insights whenever we analyze an image. The first one is we can tag the visual features. You can see some bounding boxes here, like these black rectangular or square boxes. And on top of it, you find a description of what is this bounding box is about. So these are some visual features that we can tag in an image and could give you a description of what this um, tag or visual feature means. It could be a mask, it could be a bat, it could be a glow, and so on and so forth. On top of it, we also have some specialized customizations within our AI capabilities, which are around detecting some brands. So if there are some brands that are involved within those images, we have the capability to surface those images and the brands of the names of the brands. Lastly, as well, we are giving you some kind of a metadata which describes what this image could mean to you. Like the athletic game, baseball, sport, and kind of grass are four keywords that we extracted from this image, looking to it. And those are like the metadata that you can use within your search experience, which will be utilized through the MediaValet components. And lastly, we are kind of proud to say that in Microsoft as well, we have additional key feature, which is image captioning. This is basically describing an image like a human is describing it. You might have seen the Seeing AI initiative that we have, which we have a mobile app that describes the scene to help people with, visual disabilities and etc. So this image captioning capability we have gives you a sentence. In this case, a baseball player holding a bat while standing next to the home plate is an example of an image captioning. And as I mentioned, we are proud that we reached the human parity last November with image captioning. So then now our AI could describe an image as good as an individual. And let's look into the more details of the video indexer. This is also a very interesting and exciting feature that we have, which is integrated with the MediaValet, which gives you an ability to analyze videos beyond the images that we have reviewed in the previous slide. So this is a little bit more like a complex UI. Sorry for it, but I think it gives you a very good overview of the capabilities that we are introducing with the video indexer. Video indexer basically grabs a video and frames it per each and every second and analyzes what is going on in this image. And it gives you some metadata and tags some additional insights based on the analysis that has been done within the AI. So in this example, as you can see, we were able to detect the faces. We are matching them if they are, like known individuals, publicly known figures. We are as well giving you a timeline of the appearance of this individual within that video. We are as well giving you like 15 topics in this example, but some topics related to that video and within the timeline where those topics have been seen. Similarly, we are doing it with the labels. Like in this case, glasses, I know it's a little bit hard to read, but like the glasses, and you can see where there is a glass in this video and so on and so forth. On top of it, we are using the previously named speech and machine translation services. So we are providing you a transcription of the entire conversation with the timestamps. And as well, you can translate this transcription between different languages and make it searchable within your digital asset management portfolio. And so these are the new excited capabilities that has been introduced by Microsoft and integrated within the MediaValet's solution. And now it's back to you, Fraser. Thanks for the time.
Ben, that was awesome. Thank you so much for the great overview of what you and the AI team are doing there at Microsoft. It is extremely exciting for us as a ISV partner for you to have hitched our cart to the Microsoft train when we see advancements in tech like this that can unlock immense value for our customers in a totally new way versus what was previously possible. And particularly, as you showed in the last slide here, thinking of video assets and the increasingly important role that they play today in a brand's and a marketer's toolkit in telling their story. So thank you for that. That was great. Okay, last but in no way least, Michael, please take us through how Interoperate can transform how companies use integrations today.
Absolutely awesome. And thank you all for joining today. I'm super excited to be here and have the opportunity to discuss my favorite topic, integration. My name is Michael Blakely, and I am CEO here at Interoperate. And on this next slide, I'll touch a little on who we are. So Interoperate is a professional services company that is laser focused on workflow automation by way of system integrations. And these shown here are 4 core types of integration services we offer, starting with consulting. So we typically start with assessing your specific workflow and processes, really dive in to get a thorough understanding of your needs. And next with architecture, where we go to the drawing board and architect the perfect integration to increase your team or organization's efficiency and alleviate pain points. Then development. So this is where the rubber meets the road. We roll up our sleeves to develop and actually build out that perfect integration and implement it to ensure successful adoption. Then lastly, we don't just hand it off and walk away. We of course continue to maintain the integration over time to ensure seamless reliability in the long run. So now to tie this all together on this next slide to the most important piece and why we're all here, how we work together alongside MediaValet, which is to offer MediaValet clients integrations to virtually any system or platform in your technology stack. Shown here are just the most common 15, 16 platforms we typically connect, but we can integrate your DAM literally with anything with an API and sometimes without. So this not only enables your individual or teams as a whole to work more efficiently through all the systems you use every day, but bigger picture allows you to sync or send assets to the platforms other departments within your organization use every day, no matter what function or where they're at around the globe. You can ensure they have access to the assets they need when they need them, all without leaving the platform they use all day, every day. So on this next slide, a deeper dive into how we deliver and offer these services to MediaValet's clients. First, we offer out-of-box integrations, which I'm sure you are all familiar with. They're the quickest and most effective, pre-built and standardized for the most common workflows between those two systems. So for example, we offer MediaValet to Salesforce out-of-box integration solution. So you can give your sales team access to the assets they need to close deals in Salesforce, so they never have to leave the system they live and breathe in all day, every day. But sometimes out-of-box integrations are a little too standard, right? And need a little adjusting, tweaking to meet your needs. No worries, we can actually tailor them to add additional features or workflows if needed. But next here, and what we end up seeing quite often, your team or organization's workflow and processes are extremely unique, and an out-of-box solution just won't cut it, which is where we actually really shine and is our specialty, building a custom integration to perfectly fit those unique processes and workflow. And then last, ecosystem building, where we take those one-to-one integrations and expand them out to interconnect all of your systems and peak your efficiencies org-wide. So now on the next part of the bottom slide of this is how we actually build them out on the back end. We use iPaaS, which is the most secure, fastest time to market, most cost-effective and reliable way to build out integrations. This is usually where I see kind of people gloss over, because it'd be safe to say many of you have never heard of iPaaS. But in a nutshell, it's a type of software that's main and only function is to connect systems with other systems. You can compare it to the older traditional way of building integrations, which is all pure custom. So like when a developer builds it all out piece by piece by piece, which on this next slide, I'll explain the difference a little further. Building them out custom is extremely expensive, time consuming, drains internal resources if you try to do it in-house, and of course, very maintenance heavy in the long run. Where iPaaS is much faster, reliable, and generally hands off for your organization. So you can focus on work you specialize in, not maintaining integrations. So to kind of put it into real life, for example, what we hear from customers about the gruesome process when they try to build themselves in-house and custom. First, they need to secure access to an integration developer resource who needs experience building custom integrations. This, unfortunately, as I'm sure you figured out, isn't very common, and where most in-house integrations die before they even start. But let's say you have that. Next, that specialized developer will need to learn and understand the specific MediaValet API, as well as learn and understand the API of the platform to be integrated. So Salesforce, G Drive, et cetera, for example. So now, assuming that they've gotten to this stage, the real work can begin. The developer will need to custom build the integration piece by piece, individual line of code by individual line of code. And this step typically takes between 6 to 8 months, depending on the complexity and use case. Then everyone involved embarks on the testing phase. So triggers, actions, and then workflow to detect any potential possibilities of issues or bugs. Now, once that is finally done, the integration is live. But confetti doesn't fall from the sky yet. Custom in-house integrations will inevitably break, and statistically on average 1 to 2 times a week until all of those unforecasted bugs are worked out. Then those specialized developers need to focus on the long-term maintenance. So now it's on their shoulders, since they are the only ones who understand how it was built, to maintain it over time. So now take a step back and realize that this in-house developer has not been able to do any of the work they were hired to do, and is now building and maintaining this integration full-time, which, as you can tell, is typically where we get called in. So, but back to the integration I mentioned earlier on this next slide. Once we set up connections in your accounts, there will be a drop-down that appears. So apologies. So to bring it all together, I'll walk through the high-level workflow of our most popular integration solution between MediaValet and Salesforce. So once we set up the connection in your accounts, as you can see here on the top left where it starts, there will be a new drop-down that appears. And one of the options is sync to Salesforce. So once selected, that activates the trigger and sends those assets into your Salesforce Files tab, along with all the keywords and metadata attached. So now on the other end, the sales team who need those assets to close deals like product pamphlets, feature videos, contracts, et cetera, they have access to them. And most importantly, with version control, the DAM admin can ensure they only have access to the approved and latest versions. So with that, I appreciate you listening to me nerd out on integrations as I tend to do. Please let me know if you have any questions. And with that, I'll hand it off to Fraser. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michael, for that great overview. I'm so excited to be able to bring the value of iPaaS or integration platform as a service for integrations to our customers. Businesses are using so many different SaaS applications today, and I think in the very near future, integrating and connecting these applications to achieve these effective user flows we're talking about is going to move from being a nice to have very quickly into a must have for productivity. So this is really great. Thank you so much to each of our partners for these short but very informative overviews of the integrated solutions that they've each developed with us. And now I just want to take a few quick minutes to talk about MediaValet's API. And one of the reasons these types of integrated solutions are possible is because of that API. And there is the possibility that what is currently offered as an out-of-the-box solution may not meet a prospect or customer's needs for their particular use case. And this is where having a really robust open API can play a significant role in offering added value to a customer based on their specific needs. So I will just go over 3 key points here as we move through some of these benefits. And those are going to be number 1, the quality of the MediaValet API. Number 2, the availability of that or your accessibility to it. And then lastly, the opportunity that it presents for our customers. So number 1, starting with the quality of the API, MediaValet was actually originally designed as an API first platform. And we see a lot of that in today's SaaS applications with a trend of things moving to be headless where there is no front end. Over a decade ago, our CTO and CEO made the decision to build the entire front end of MediaValet on top of a really robust full-featured REST API, such that every button that's clicked or action that's selected by you, the user, in the UI or the MediaValet portal, that makes a call to the back end of the system through our API. So what this means for you as the user is that when you define an initiative that requires the use of our API, you've got an accessible API that makes available endpoints for every aspect or function of the DAM visible to you in the UI. And so this really enables any function of MediaValet to be built into any one of your other platforms that your teams or you are using on a daily basis to really leverage that DAM functionality at any point along the asset lifecycle, whether that's the creation of assets, the management of those assets, or on the downstream end, the distribution of those assets out to the audience for which they were intended. So that's sort of the quality of our API, and then that brings us to availability. This is, to me, one of the key benefits for you as the MediaValet customer. There is no barrier to entry to access the API. So that means that as long as you have an active subscription with MediaValet, you're a customer of ours, you can sign up for what we call a developer account, and that enables access for you to our developer API portal. And the API portal contains all the documentation needed to use the API, as well as some really good quick start instructions to get you up and running as quickly as possible to do your work. And not only that, but if you run into any challenges, there's also a developer support assigned to the use of the API. So you're not going to be stuck there on your own trying to figure it out, scratching your head for long. One of our devs will step in to assist. And further, if your needs are somewhat more complex than just accessing the regular API, you can actually sign up for what we call the Enterprise Developer Package. And this includes some extras such as access to webhooks for automating certain API calls if that's advantageous to you, using the concept of triggers and actions. It includes a sandbox environment for staging so that you're not building against your production instance, as well as a few other aspects that offer key benefits. So if you're undertaking a really complex project, this can be a really good option to support that effort for you and the team there. And then thirdly and lastly, I just wanted to give you an example that I think reflects really well the opportunity that the API presents to a MediaValet customer. And I'll do that by kind of showing and depicting what's possible with the API as achieved by one of our existing customers. So this account is a global real estate management company, one of the leading in the world. And they wanted to gain better control over all of their digital imagery associated with specific property listings. So against a property address, think a street view visual representation or imagery, aerial view of the building, perhaps, of the block in which it sits, and then also say interior photography of the actual unit for lease or for sale. And so there's a lot, you can start to see there's a lot of visuals that compound to represent a particular listing of theirs. And the core use case was really kind of like what Michael mentioned with the Salesforce connection. It was really to better enable the sales team with access to these images to make their job easier. And the problem, though, was that the sales team already had access to the data in theory, but never really knew where to go to find the correct images. And this is, obviously a very common issue that our customers are facing when they come to speak to us initially. So one of the constraints, though, which was really interesting that the customer laid out to us, was that they also didn't want to encumber their sales team with yet another SaaS application to learn and to manage. In other words, what they wanted was to simply use MediaValet's API to extract and map the relevant visual data from the DAM into a corresponding entry in their CRM. And obviously, like Michael said, again, that's the tool where the sales team lives, breathes, and spends all their time. So in this case, it was interesting for us again, because the stakeholder group involved more than just marketing or the creative team. It involved marketing leadership, in this case, the CRM manager, as the owner of that sort of final product. IT was involved, and even data scientists, all in an effort to ensure the relevant information was being both extracted from MediaValet, but then also presented in the CRM very accurately to achieve their outcome that they were looking for. So in the end, the project was completed successfully. It was launched. And how that looks now is that the DAM's administered and managed in the portal, and in this use case, what we would almost term the back end, by the marketing team. But then the assets are consumed in the CRM very productively and very efficiently by the sales team, who we can kind of consider the end user in this case. So I think this is a really powerful example showing the flexibility and how value is delivered to the customer per their needs, per their specific processes, and allowing the solution to fit the customer, so to speak, versus requiring the customer to fit the solution. So I hope you find that a little bit informative and a good example there of how we can start thinking about the value an API can deliver past just the stock UI of the product itself. With that, Steph, I will hand it back over to you to wrap it up.
Awesome. Thanks, Fraser, for sharing that story. It's great to see the flexibility our API provides and how it's helping support customers' unique use cases. Also, thanks to all of our partners for joining us today. It's been great to have you on the call with us. Before we wrap up, as Fraser mentioned, we do have a few questions that have came in, so we'll quickly get started with those. So the first one is from Michael. This is from Jeffrey. He's curious if there's an integration with DAM and Seismic.
Yes, I smiled when I saw that come through, because we've been talking to quite a few clients about connecting MediaValet to Seismic, and the quick answer is yes. Each one seems to be a little bit of a different use case depending on what they use Seismic for. Most of them have been for sales enablement, so the workflow was pretty similar to what you saw on that Salesforce slide, where the DAM admin can pick and choose which assets that they want to be accessed over in Seismic. And then on the other end of Seismic, for sales enablement, the sales team have access to those. So each one seems, because Seismic is such a robust system, everyone uses a little bit differently. So they're typically custom, but definitely possible.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. So we have a question for Ben at Microsoft. Do you store images and videos used with computer vision, and do you use those for product improvements?
Yeah, thanks, Stephanie. It's a great question. So as Microsoft, we never ever use the consumer data or customer data that is submitted to our APIs. And we never use it for AI training purposes. We never have an access to those, and we don't have a chance to see even what is submitted. And we are GDPR compliant. We are a GDPR data processor, which means we have no right to use customer data, and there's no way for us to see the customer data that is submitted to us.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben. So we have a question here for Gary at Reich. The question is, what advice can you share with companies looking to connect a DAM and a collaboration tool like Reich?
Yeah, great question. I'm always a big fan of testing the integrations. So just really getting an understanding on the workflow and how the platforms speak to one another. So I would always just get started with testing it. And then I just think one thing to point out, things move quickly in today's day and age, especially with everything that we saw last year, shifting like remote work environments. So I just think that it's really important to just have the right set of tools in your toolkit for now and a potential future. And we may know what that holds, and we may not, and we just have to have like options on versatility and different offering. So I just think kind of looking for a solution holistically, testing it now, and then just kind of understanding like what you need now and what you need down the line.
Perfect. Thanks, Gary. So we have a question for Harry at Strikethrough. So do you have any best practices when integrating a PIM and a DAM solution?
Yeah, absolutely, Stephanie. Thanks. So yes, there are quite a lot, but I think some of the things that comes to my mind, essentially going through your entire asset process, right? What from taking the shot, for example, for image, all the way up to creating the different transformation or renditions for the images or for the other media assets. So basically, really kind of understanding your process and then modeling it in the MediaValet tool. That's one. And from integration point of view, naming, I think naming is the number one that comes to my mind. For each asset type, whether it's a silo image or environmental or swatch, you need to have a very standardized naming that helps in the syncing. And your connector also relies on it. That's one of the mechanisms we use for that. The other part is the linkages, right? So have you really thought through all of the assets and their linkages to the different products? So whether it's a configurable product versus simple product, so there are a lot of, it can go into a lot of complexities as to how you want to associate a particular media asset to a particular product hierarchy, as we call it. That's one. And then metadata, right? So really focus on having the metadata and then sync that metadata to PIM, because that becomes your, then not only it helps in the product searchability, but also the image searchability. So enrich metadata. And then a couple of more that comes to my mind is automation. As much as possible, automating the entire creation of metadata in DAM and also transferring that metadata and other information about the image to the PIM. And then the two-way integration, right? So not only just pulling the images from MediaValet DAM to PIM, or whether it's any PIM, Akinio or Salsify, doesn't matter. And then also pushing the information, the product level information. For example, if a product is getting discontinued, so pushing that information from PIM to DAM. So the two-way, and the last but not the least is the CDN. These images will be served to many different touch points and digital channels, and having a proper CDN strategy or the DAM connected to CDN is a key. I think that's these are the key things that comes from.
Perfect. Thanks for taking us through that, Harry. So we have another question for Microsoft. How can we learn more about cognitive services?
Thanks, Stephanie. So for the cognitive services, I think the easy way is, looking to our Microsoft website, where you can go to the Microsoft Cognitive Services subsite within the Microsoft.com, and as well within Azure, if you can subscribe to the Azure newsletters, we are as well doing like bi-weekly webinars around our technologies, our capabilities, and you will be able to get more details from that website, and as well check out our documentation as well. It is within the Microsoft website. You will see lots of code examples and additional information about how this integration works, what are the key features that could be integrated, and so on and so forth.
Awesome, thanks, Ben. And just to add to that, for any features that we use, like for example, the audio video intelligence, which utilizes the video indexer, we also have a few videos, training documentation, etc., that we've created on the MediaValet side to give everyone a little bit more insight. All right, so we have another question for interoperate, so for Michael. What are the various internal stakeholders that need to be involved when scoping and or implementing an integration? Is it just the IT team, or is there others involved?
Oh, that's awesome question. So IT team is important to be involved because they typically understand the infrastructure of your technology stack from the back end. But actually the most important people to be involved are, for example, the admins of both systems. So the DAM admin is one of the most critical pieces because they can actually fully understand the workflow. So from that end, so understanding how their assets, live within DAM and what their workflow is and the best way to get them into, the other system. Pretty much the same answer for the other system. So Salesforce, for example, the Salesforce admin and person who owns that system internally also needs to be on that so that we can fit that workflow from beginning to end. And then also all of the power users of both of those systems. So again, the main objective is to optimize the workflow between the both systems. So having all those stakeholders, including the admins and the end users, are usually the best way to approach it and the best people to get involved alongside with IT. Great question.
Awesome, thanks, Michael. We have one more for Reich here. So what makes you think, what do you think makes Reich stand out in the collaborative work management space?
Yeah, that's another great question. I always kind of go back to the roots and just seeing Reich evolve over the past years. I believe, pair functionality and ease of use the best. And that's what I really think that really summarizes why I think Reich stands out, but also just like the results. Our account management team has really seen tremendous success over the past few years, and that usually, when a client comes on board, it's for a team. But then expanding beyond that team is also pretty special and something to note. So I think that the people that know Reich, they really love it and they get great results. When that starts spreading to different teams, the virality really kicks in, and other teams see that they can function on a collaborative work management solution as well. So now you're talking about one solution spanning across multiple departments, and that is kind of like pairing that with just ease of use and adoption. I just think that those really summarize Reich's differentiators.
Awesome, thanks, Gary. So we have time for one last question. This one's for Harry at Strikethrough. So who would need to be involved for a PIM and DAM implementation? And do you have any more insight as to what this process would look like?
Yes, thanks, Stephanie, for the question. Yes, so it's so just the key. I can address it from the role point of view, and then we can go into a little bit more detail. So I think the PIM and DAM, they are to before even it's an IT project, it's actually a very business project. So I think the key to success we have seen as an implementer and as a solution provider in these areas is to have a business support, really an executive level support, sponsorship, and then clearing up the roadblocks. So I think that's a number one role. That's one, especially now more than ever. And then in terms of some of the best practices or how to make these projects successful, clearly having an idea about all of your sales channel. What is your current digital strategy, online selling strategy? What exactly it looks like in the next year or so. So you can design, you can think about all those use cases and then put a more future-proof solution, right? So that's one. And then in terms of the other roles, you really need what we call as a core team, right? So whether it's from the digital asset management team, which includes photographers, approvers, people who are actually tagging the images with metadata. So really working with the core business team in the requirements in the design phase. I think that's really critical. What we found is the key to success in a PIM and DAM implementations, more from the business point of view. And then as we move towards the implementation, having the team who really understand the tool, right? So think, for example, the MediaValet or Akinio PIM, very user friendly, but I think you need a team who actually knows the ins and out of that tool and how to configure it if the point comes about customization. So really having a very tech-savvy team behind the scene or front of the customer also to really kind of customize and configure the solution. And then the last but not the least, having a clear plan on a UAT, how you want the customer to test the solution, or especially the integration points between the DAM and PIM, and then putting a training plan and go live. So I think that's in a nutshell, involving the business upfront, executive sponsorship, core team, and having the right players in the implementation, which is your solution architect, tech leads, tech developers, and then having the right training and go live.
Awesome, thanks, Harry. All right, so that's it for all the questions. Thanks again for everyone who joined today's session. If you have any other questions about anything that was presented today, or you want to know more about any of MediaValet's integrations, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at success@mediavalet.com, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, thank you everybody for coming.